Josh, welcome to the Power Up podcast, mate. Great to have you on board.
Thanks for having me, mate. Yeah, pretty exciting.
It's good. And you got a great story. I'm really keen for you to share with our listeners how you've really built a team and how you've really positioned yourself over the last 4 years. You've got a great journey and a great story to share. So really keen to listen to that and understand and how you unpack that. But before we get into that, all into the now and all the good stuff, just give us a bit of an insight into some of the background and the journey to date with obviously yourself and Lyndall starting the business back around that 2013, 2014.
Yeah, so we worked for a telecommunications company, both of us, and we basically had enough.
Telstra? Is that Telstra?
I didn't want to. I don't want a bad name.
We want a bad name. It's Telstra. No, all good.
Yeah. So yeah, we worked for them for a long time. I was in management there, and I just had enough of it stress-wise, and so I changed, retrained, and started in landscaping and horticulture. And yeah, we moved towns, and so it was a big change for us. Everything sort of had to happen, but yeah, we moved here. We weren't sure where we were going to go, so we kicked the business back off again. I was just a sole trader, and yeah, and then essentially we were offered a little business in town, and so we took that on, and it kind of it came when we bought it. It actually came in a 4X carton box, like an old one. That's how we got all the paperwork for it. So yeah, it was a great little business. Had great.
Is there any beer still in the box?
No, it wasn't.
No, okay, cool.
Yeah, but that was pretty much what we picked up. It was a good little business. Had great rapport with the customers, being a small town, but that was sort of where it was at. So.
And that's West Wyalong, right?
That is West Wyalong, yeah. So we took this business on like that, and from there, we just had to bring systems and processes into place, because as we slowly grew, we're putting staff on, and we just realised we weren't set up for it. So essentially, my wife said to me, "Look, we've got to get someone to help us do this," and obviously being in management in a Telstra management position, I felt like I should be able to do this. But when it came to trades, and we talk about the trading mindset and all those things, I've kind of got myself into that because I've been a sole trader for three years already. So it was sort of yeah, my wife was the one that pushed it, Lyndall. But
so starting around that 2014, 15, West Wyalong, and then a couple of years as sole trader, then rolling into a proprietary limited company.
Yeah, so once we took this business on, it had a couple of people on staff, just casuals. So then it was sort of suggested we need to get into more of a company setup. So then we rolled into that, and now obviously we've sort of into our 14th staff member. Yeah. So it's been a big journey for us, but to be able to put us into that position, get us into this position, we had to make some decisions as to who was going to help us get there, which is why we got you.
No, it's been good and been great to have you on board, and especially to seeing the results now coming into the end of the financial year, coming in the end of June 2023. It's really, really exciting. But just rolling it back into that, like around that 2018-19 period where you're in a new region. It's not a big pocket, and pretty much West Wyalong, it's close to Young, isn't it?
It's close to Young. Sort of Forbes. We're probably an hour from Forbes. It is on a few highways, but it's sort of in the middle of nowhere, really. And there's
central western New South Wales.
Central western New South Wales. There's probably 6,500 people in town. Got a good little mining agricultural community.
Yeah.
And it's a great little town, but from a point of view that you want to have constant work, you kind of have to go out of town a little bit too. So we've in that regard, we had to be set up to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it is a great pocket. It's a great part of New South Wales. It really is a good region there.
She's dusty when you get when we moved here, it was a drought, and boy, it was dusty.
And then you got flooded. Then the floods.
Then we got floods. Yeah.
Yep. So, but then with that coming into that period of that growth, starting to get more on, I think you sort of before you jumped on board with us, you built the business around that 500K turnover.
Yeah. So we're around about 500K turnover. But our net profit wasn't great, and there's a few things that we sort of looked at that were because we were growing, we were buying And so that made it hard to sort of get a real good indication of how the business was sort of working, because we had to buy a lot of assets and things to kind of keep our business rolling through. But
cash flow was tight.
Cash flow was tight. Yeah, certainly was. And, we started a family in 2019. So, we have, our own personal goals and our own personal life. And that was another reason why we had to make changes, because we just were, getting into a bit of a rut where work had come home with us. We'd be, working late. We'd be talking about it at the dinner table. And it wasn't very nice.
You got into that classic, which you referred to, the trading mindset, where you just become enslaved to the job. And unfortunately, around the dinner table, it's all about work.
Yeah. And because Lyndall obviously worked in the business, we both, shot back and forth, and then we'd end up fighting because it just, it's just not conducive to your relationship. That didn't work, and it shouldn't work like that. And it doesn't work like that now. So that's a good thing.
It's hard when it's in that state where both partners are fully invested in the business, and it's not so much the hard work, but it's just the lack of reward. And
correct.
There's nothing worse than you're putting a lot on the line, young family, stress, pressures, and then the cash is going south. Effort's going up, cash is going south.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, putting all the time and the energy into it and not seeing the reward. But, that energy and time that we put in back then, although probably not ideal, it has set us up for now.
100%. I think, and we talk about the latent potential all the time in our community, as you're aware of, which is a latent potential. Just because you're not getting the results, it doesn't mean it's wasted effort. It's actually stored energy.
Yeah.
But it's about playing the long game and being persistent and disciplined as you are. And that's what's led you to here, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Nothing goes in a straight line. But
no.
But I love that, coming back to one of the first conversations we had, and obviously Lyndall, I love how you sort of put it down. Lyndall pretty much put the foot down and said, Josh, we need help. We need someone to help us. Now, you were very, very, very,
I'm pretty stubborn.
Yeah, you were stubborn. You weren't really warm and fuzzy.
No, I wasn't. I think back to that first phone call we had, and I think, man, I was probably a jerk. You were probably sitting there, this bloke.
Maybe a little bit. So that was back in 2020 now too. That was early, just before COVID, or around when
COVID. Yeah. And look, it was, and that was just trying to get rid of that old business mindset too. Things are different in every industry, and things don't just translate across every industry. So what I stored knowledge, and we, obviously being part of a large company, we had been to coaches and, action coaches and all sorts of things that, and it felt like it was a very blurred industry for me. So I sort of felt like, I don't know if I want to go down that path. But, we were recommended to you guys from a family member, and it was perfect. Yeah.
No, it was great. I'm glad that you persisted, right? I'm really glad that Lyndall pretty much went drag you in there. Yeah. Drag you to get started. And now here we are, nearly 3 and a bit, nearly 4 years down the track.
Well, I think how long has it been since she's been on a phone call or whatever else? It's just been me.
Yeah, I know. Now you're the main man. Look at you. Well, Lyndall's loving life, right? So
yeah, that's right.
Now is working. What is it? 1 day a week?
1 day a week. Yeah. And from home. So she's not in the office, and we've got a good little admin office staff now, and office manager, and there's members of the team that we've kind of created that have really taken us to another level. So that's been really helpful.
Let's talk. I want to talk about that, how we sort of got there to that result, because now, again, from say 3 or so years ago, there was 500K turnover. You're enslaved to the business, no time, lack of cash.
Yeah.
To now being able to set the business up, you're able to go away for 4 weeks in the caravan with a young family, which is always a challenge. And credit to you, 4 weeks, how good.
Yeah, it was a worry, but you know what? We probably could have gone away for longer, and that's testament to the team we've built.
Yep.
They're a great team. And look, it's always been a thing for me when I've been in business that, like, I didn't love my old job, and I wanted to create an environment that people loved. And there's things that pop up that won't always be great, but I really wanted to make it so that the culture in this company and the people that worked here loved it. And maybe they don't love the work, but they love the team. They love being in it. We have really good camaraderie. And there's a lot to look forward to when you come to work. And it's not always fun and games. Like, they work hard, but it's a really good environment at the moment, and I'm pretty proud of that, because I think that's one of my main goals in being in business, is to really create that culture.
Yeah. And that's definitely a credit to you, mate. And that's one thing early on that I really admired you, that it was all about the team. And from the get-go, I know from some first conversations, it's about, I want to have a good environment. It's not about just getting people on just to work. You really want to build that culture and bringing in that learnings and experiences from the corporate world, where, again, from my perspective as well, like in the corporate world for 10 years, there's some pretty toxic environments that I worked in. There was nothing, and it really does suck the life out of you.
It does, yeah. Yeah. And, and the churn for staff is just incredible. And we've got guys that have been with us for coming on, our very first employees, they're still with us.
Yeah.
And when we bought the company, we had a girl that came with us. She was casual to come along, and her husband's now one of our project managers. And so if you create an environment, she's not with us anymore, but that's because she started a family. But, she's willing to put it up there and say, hey, it's a good place to work. So
it's great. Yeah, you're really building that family nurturing environment.
Yeah, yeah. And being in a small town, like, our talent pool isn't, incredibly deep. No. There's plenty of other companies in town and other trades, and being a mining community, there's big money in certain areas. So, we've got to create a culture and a work environment that people want to come to, because we can't compete otherwise.
I love it. I just love it. I want people who are listening to this now, especially those all around Australia in big cities or little cities, that are saying, oh, it's tough to get people, or, I'm in a small town and, it's tough to get people in a small town as opposed to a big town, and everyone's got an excuse. You're the classic example, shining light, small town, not a big pocket, but you've really built up that culture and what we talk about, winning the war on talent, where you really build that brand that attracts good people.
Yeah.
They're looked after. You're showing that compassionate leadership.
We have to look after them. And I think, like I've said before, things change and things will go wrong. And the creating culture is not just to create the culture and let it become, that's it. It's more about creating the culture and working on the culture every single day. Like, these things have to be worked on, because little things will creep in, personalities will clash, all of that stuff. And if they fester, they corrupt, and it's a matter of constantly working on it. And it is a big thing. But one of your big pushes is for us to do at the start was the way we do it here, and the way we do it here really set a standard for our business. And we did focus on how we wanted our team, and like our culture was the pinnacle part of that, because I feel like if we have a really good working culture, a really good team, our clients are going to see that. Our clients are going to respect that. Our clients are going to, come to us, and we're going to create an environment where they're going to be happy with the work we do, rather than sort of really relying on the skill set of our team. We kind of create this company that's just going to come in and blow them away. And I think that's important. That's, often we go, oh, my client is the most important part of the business. But I think your team, your culture is the most important part of your business.
Yeah, I agree there, because your team look after your client. Well, if your team are not happy, your clients are not going to be happy.
Yeah, for sure. They're your face. They're everything.
Yeah. And I love that mantra that you've put down, where, again, the team is the most important asset, and we're only as good as the people. And if the team are thriving, then the business is going to thrive.
Correct. Yeah. 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 We have to have a good team. And again, in a small town, you don't get lots of chances. You've got a lot of repeat customers. So if your culture's, cancerous, you're going to have trouble, because you're not going to want to, and I've seen it in, other sections of town. There's certain businesses that, you think that's not a great name, in some things. And we come up against things like that all the time. So yeah, it's such an important thing for us.
And coming back to unpacking now the way we do it here, process, as we discussed, that's really the cornerstone and the foundation of everything we do, as far as how we recruit, how we train people, how we assess people, how we develop people, how we then go to our clients, part of our business development and educating the client process. It's how we go to suppliers and talk about our expectations.
Yeah.
It's every day, right? It's just correct, the way we do it here is literally every day.
Yeah.
Just unpack, and this is where, again, I really admire how you, from that tentative start, you really bought into the way we do it here, even when, again, at those early stages, business was tough, you were still busy, the results still weren't there, both from a top line revenue or profit point of view.
Yeah.
But you had that unwavering focus on, you believe that the way we do it here was going to be critical for the team. Just talk me about the process, and just to clarify, everyone, with the way we do it here is a really clear, succinct framework of our vision, aspirational, where we want to go as a team, our promise, what do we promise our customer every time we turn up, and then our values, which basically are our desired behaviors. And this is pretty much how our team make the choices every day. Every choice they make, they've got to align it to the values. Just unpack that process, mate, that you went through, and the different iterations too that you've gone through in getting the team buy-in as well.
Yep.
It's not about you just directing it, it's about the team owning it.
Yeah. So when we created it, obviously we weren't sure what we were going to do. So, we had some help from family members that owned a trade business. And so we kind of just set these ideals out and said, well, that's what we want to do. And then we presented that to the team, and we sort of set them down and said, this is what, the way we do it here, this is our expectations, the teamwork, how that's going to work. And I think after a while, I think it was about 12, 18 months of running it that way. It went through everything. So our marketing webpage, our quoting documents that get sent out to our customers, it's on all of those things. So they know, it's almost like our mantra that that's what you can expect from the company. But then obviously moving forward, the team hadn't created it. So what we wanted to do when we had a mid-year meeting, then just said, right, you guys are going to rebuild this for us. We don't want to change it completely, but we want you to put this into your own words. So we had a meeting and we sat down and everyone just, spitballed back and forth. What's our expectations? And from the apprentice through to the project managers, office managers, everyone had input, everyone had a chance to talk. And eventually, we come up with a new one now. We're just in the process of putting that out now to the world. But I think it's important that even your apprentices get an opportunity, because they're your future of your business. They're the future trades that are going to come through. They're your tradesmen, and really they're going to, if they embed it in their life now, they'll come out a better tradesman.
And that's the thing. We're coming back to it. It creates the leadership. It creates a framework that everyone, doesn't matter whether you're an apprentice or a 50-year-old tradesman, you can still own it. And I talk about leadership. Leadership's not about a title or tenure. It's about your actions and your choices. And often what we find within the community, and you would have heard it when we talk about our community wins, and other people say that sometimes the best people who lead by example is actually the apprentices. They're the ones that often have the best feedback or best input. And generally it's because of that generation too, where and this is what I want everyone to understand, generationally right now, the new kids coming through, they want empowerment, they want ownership, they want to contribute.
Yep.
And they want to be part of something bigger than just a job. Like you said before, we're doing landscaping. Some of the stuff that you're doing is tedious, but if you create this environment where they're empowered and they're making choices, hey, I'm growing. I've got a say in this. I'm accountable.
Yeah.
And how have you seen it now? And because fast tracking it now, the team that you've built has enabled you to, again, not 13 people, 14 people on board.
Yeah.
It's really, and credit to you, now we've gone from 500K to pushing through to, close
Almost
to 2 million, which is fantastic. But more importantly, the bottom line profit, is up over that 15% or, pushing over 200K profit, which is unbelievable. It's great.
Yeah.
But it's all on the back of the team. It's massive.
100%. Yeah.
It's all on the back of the team. The team own it. You've got confidence in the team. Now, just talk about the difference. Once you give, what have you really noticed from the team members? Once you've given them that input, that opportunity to have a say, that opportunity to own what gets created in this framework. So they believe in the vision because they've been part of it. They believe in the promise because they've been part of it. They believe in their values because they've been part of it. So they really own it.
Yes.
So what are some of the key little
you just start to see it come out in them in their daily work. So you'll see them, start to make decisions, and apprentices particularly, that like they make mistakes, and they're probably the most common ones to make mistakes. And how they take ownership of that mistake, for example, which is one of our values. But then how the other team members respond to that. So they'll sort of say, "Oh, that's not the way we do it here." Like it's a little bit of jest, but at the same time, they understand that doesn't reflect the way we do it here. And even if I say certain things, "Oh, that's not the way we do it here," and there's it's in jest in some ways, but it's ingrained. And so when they actually do make a mistake that is, or we have come up against something that is really difficult, it's an ingrained decision. They kind of they'll default to it without even thinking about it. They don't have to verbalize it, but they default to that kind of mentality. That's probably what we're pushing for. We don't want to have to verbally bring this up all the time. We use the language, and it kind of creates the patterns in the brain for everybody that go, "Hang on, no, that's not the way we do it here." But we want them to just mentally get to that state where they just say, "That's not the way. That's not good enough. That's not the way we do it here." Those sort of things. So it is, and it's been a journey to get there. And the more people you put on, like obviously the more risk you have. And some people that you put on, obviously that are already tradesmen or that are older, they've got ideas of their own that come into play, and so they have to fit into the culture of the company. And if they can't, well, then they fall away. And the same goes for any apprentices that have come on, and we've had guys that have come in, but it's just they fall away. And the beauty of it is, we have had people that have started and joined the team, and it's been within a week, it's collectively the team's gone, "This isn't going to work." And it's not a matter of being mean or anything like that. It's just, this isn't going to work. I don't have to make the decision. They make the decision, and it just doesn't work. And they say, "No, we have to. We're not going to be able to perform to the level we need to perform to with this person on board, and nothing's changing." So, so you get that higher, slow, fire fast kind of mentality from your team, which is really helpful because, I don't want to have to be monitoring these guys all the time, particularly as your numbers start to grow.
And that's what I love. I love hearing that. That just gets me
fired
up and excited, right? As you know, I
Yeah.
get very excited around things like that, because we're talking about that leadership, from within.
Yeah,
we're talking about
100%.
inside out leadership, where the team straight away, if someone's coming in, the team are actually owning the culture. The team are actually owning the way we do it here.
Yeah.
And if someone's coming in and they know they're not going to be a team member, see you later.
Doesn't suit. Yeah.
We're going north.
It's got to happen quick too. Do you know?
And it has to happen quick.
Yeah, because it can really be cancerous. So for them to pick it up and say, "No, let's," and they feel empowered to do that. Like, that's not going to suit. So, and I feel like one of my things is I really want to be open, and my leadership has changed a lot, probably from 10 years ago. Yeah.
It's changed a lot in the last 3 years since we've been on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And just being, really focused on culture means that, my empathy changes, my, the way I manage, the way I deal with people, the way I deal with myself. So there's, self-growth that I have to do myself. So, that has changed. And, our team, like, they make it, like, you don't want to have to fire people, and you don't want to have to fire people without really good this is why it's happening.
Yeah.
You want to have a good reason to be getting rid of someone, particularly when you put them on, because it's, it sucks to, you go through the hiring process and then they're the wrong fit. You feel like, well, you failed. But if your team turns around and says, "No, this isn't going to work," then you've really, in the end, you've won.
Well, the way we do it here is used first and foremost when we talk about the hire slow.
Yeah,
it's used in that recruitment process, which we try and flesh out. Then, if they buy into it or they don't.
Correct.
So in that initial stages, we get a glimmer of, like, hang on, do you buy into our vision? This is our promise, and these are our values. So we're very clear on the expectations, and you're very clear on the expectations. But you're right, some do sort of slip through the net.
Well, they do. And, some people are good at just being different in their interview to how they are. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. They're quite good actors.
They're
in the wrong field.
We're all able to act, I guess. But so that for us, culture has been just the biggest growth. I think for us, that's been our focus, and we've just let the rest of, not let it go, but we sort of think, well, if we manage the team to the point where, you know, they're an amazing team, things around it will happen, and they'll go and search for work. They'll increase the business. The
Well, they're going to
profit,
be they're brand advocates.
exactly. Yeah.
They're going to say both as attracting new people. This is a great place to work, as well as attracting new clients, because they're going to be talking in their network. Oh, we do great work, like the current project you're on, right? You're in your space and your scope of works, you're really driving that project to go forward, because all the other trades around are pretty much unprofessional.
Correct. Yeah. And it's been, it's been really good to see that the team really trying to push it forward. I don't have to even be there, and our project manager, he's fantastic. And it's as a group collectively, they just want to see it get done. And we've got job fatigue with that now, and that's something that can really be cancerous to your team culture. And so we want to get rid of it. We want it to finish. It's got to move on. We've got to go to the things that give us joy, and go back to the work that makes us happy.
And the key thing there is identifying, which is really good as part of your leadership, identifying that fatigue coming in, identifying that you've got to unplug. You've got to unplug, and as part of the operating rhythm, that we put in place, and as part of that annual operating rhythm, and for our listeners, we've got an annual operating rhythm at different months of the year. Certain things have to get done, and we're now coming into that phase where we're doing the one-on-one performance.
One-on-ones, yeah. We've got conversations to have around performance. We've got to come back to the way we do it here and look at where we're sitting, personally, and because that's a part of the way we do it here. We like to see that kind of stretch across their personal life as well, and the decisions that they make in their personal life. I mean, we can't tell people what to do personally, but if you create an environment where every day they're coming to work with a certain standard, it's going to represent in their personal life as well. And that's sometimes where we've seen people drop away, where they can't keep their personal life to the standard that it needs to be, and they go, I can't live like this, basically. Can't do it. So we've seen people drop off because of that. Particularly young apprentices.
Yeah, it's very hard. As we always say, you've got to have a balanced habits. You can't have great habits at home and then all bad habits at home and have the good habits at work. It just doesn't work, because it crosses over.
Yeah.
I think what you're talking about too, and this is what we're really passionate about, and we talk about it in the community all the time, is that, and I want people to understand, who listen to the podcast, is that when you get someone come into your organization, they're bright-eyed. Often they're looking for mentorship. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for an opportunity to grow. Often they've come from an environment where they've never been sort of patted on the back. They've always been criticized. Whereas what we want, and I know you do, when people leave the organization, your business, because they're going to grow and to go the next step, and good luck to them, but they're going to be a better tradesman, but more importantly, they're going to be a better person.
Correct. Yeah.
Because of the confidence and the skills and the principles, and the values, and how they can go about things, how they can own things. Their position in life is, going to be on a different trajectory for the next decades.
Correct. Yeah. And look, it's, we've had people come on from our other businesses that we've sort of taken on, like our office manager, for example. And, she comes from an environment that was probably pretty tough to work in by the sound of it. And from a management team perspective, like pretty tough to work in. Comes here, and we still have moments where, like, the way we react, the way we respond, because it's the way we do it here, is like foreign to her. It's like, that's not how I expected something different. I expected anger, and I expected frustration and all these things. And you're like, it's not what we do here. Like, it's not, this is a problem, sure, but we're going to have to overcome it the way we do it here, not, with other.
We're not trying to follow anyone else. We don't care what they're doing. They're fine. This is the way we do it here, and we got confidence in the way we do it here.
Yeah.
One thing now we really want to touch on with the way we do it here, because we mentioned like the team members, which is great. They pick up on the way we do it here if things go wrong. But as you know, we're all about intentionally seeking out the good. Correct. And how we can use the way we do it here, again, to appraise people, to pat people on the back, to give them recognition. How good is that? Again, that framework that we can really put people up on the pedestal, acknowledge great work.
Yeah, well, we do it in our meetings, and we talk about we talk about situations where, or you get an email from a client that says, great job doing this, this, and this, and you can say, well, this is where this is ownership, this is teamwork, this is these things that we talk
Relates
about.
back to your values.
Relates back to this. So you actually have a KPI that you can work to. And you know, KPIs for team related things are actually quite hard to manage. Whereas, but if it's a value that you can relate back to in the things they do, it becomes something that you can reward and say, look, this is a great job. Because KPIs often are about, you know, figures or benchmarks, and you sort of think, well, that's hard to benchmark a personality. And so you see that and you go, well, you know, having the way we do it here, it's the benchmark. It's a personality benchmark, or it's a, you know, how you turn up to work. That's you know, and you can reflect back to that and say, look, you've done a fantastic job in these things, and it's
all about choices, right?
Yeah.
It's the choices that are made, like with your kids, right?
It's
It's all about choices, and that's a great thing where, and I think, you know, we talk about a lot by having the way we do it here, and it's all about choices. When you're having a tough conversation with someone that maybe not living and breathing the way we do it here, you can remove that personality and the emotion out of it, agree, because it's very much about choice.
Yeah.
It's about the choices that you're making are not aligned with the way we do it here.
Yeah.
So, and the great thing, it's no gray, it's black or white. So the question is, Josh, do you believe in the way we do it here? Because your choices are not showing that. Yes or no?
Yeah.
How do you find that? Again, just removing that emotion, that personality, and it's all about the choice. So it comes back to ownership.
Yeah. Again, 100%. And it comes back to also like me having to, I'm accountable to those things too, because it's a company thing. Me in a management role, I'm accountable to those things. So I go into these meetings where I'm praising the staff because, you know, we're aligning the choice they've made to what we've done, you know, in the way we do it here. I'm actually, if I'm working to that as well, I'm finding these things and I'm looking for these things, and I actually want to make a decision to go and support them and say, done a great job there.
Yeah.
If I'm not living to it and I'm in the rut of being a tradie and I don't have my head up or have my head out of the sand or have my head in the clouds, you know, I'm not seeing this stuff. So it's a big thing for me as well, and our management team to actually be living it and looking for it as well. Because again, it comes back to information. Then, you know, we're armed with information to say, yeah, we've done a great job, and this is the way you've done it.
Well, yeah, and that's right, because you can easily, if you don't stop and have a better, say, a follow up with a client, or dig for more details and really get an understanding of where the client's at, then you can't share that with the team, and there's no learning. You've lost an opportunity there. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, if you don't live, if everyone's not aligned to the culture and the way we do it here, then that's a gap. There's an area there there's a hole basically in the bucket. It's just going to fall out there. You're going to have lost opportunity in that section.
I love the way you phrase that. 100%, the hole in the bucket.
Yeah, you'll lose opportunity out of that hole every time. And if that's the manager, that's the top of your bucket.
Yeah,
you know, it's just going to spill out the sides. So for me, if you know, it's just going to, you know, we're losing opportunities if I don't live to it. But if, you know, your apprentice isn't living to it, it's going to come out the bottom. It's going to, you know, not that, you know, we're talking hierarchies in that way, but that's the way, you know, that's the way it works. You're going to lose opportunities and lose momentum, and, you know, there's going to become problems that probably were able to be dealt with if everyone's aligned.
And that's what we're talking about. They're getting rid of that hierarchy because it's a flat line, because everyone's got to be accountable to the way we do it here. Everyone needs to live and breathe the way we do it here. And then obviously it starts with you. You know, everyone's looking, as the owner, eyes are on you. They're looking at every choice you make. You've got to be aware of your choices. Yeah. And we always
how you respond, how you react, and all those things.
Yeah, and you can't get, and as we have those conversations, I don't care about you. Don't tell me you're busy. Don't tell me you're tired. It's just, everyone's tired or busy. That's irrelevant. We've got to make sure that you're making the right choices, because you've got to set the example. And that's where a lot of people, and I've come across, you know, over a long period of time, when we talk about the values, and people go, oh, great, I've got this the way we do it here, and I can use it as like a big stick. People think it's like a big stick. No, it's not a big stick. This is an open.
That's a roadmap, really.
It's a roadmap for everyone to follow. It's a framework that actually gives people confidence to make choices. It removes that. You don't have to micromanage. It gives people that empowerment that, you know what? Thank God, Josh, give me some breathing space here, mate. I just want you. Don't micromanage me. Let me make a choice.
Yeah.
Let me just give me the framework. Cool. Got it. Let me go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you know, if people are making choices, this is what I want everyone to understand too. And I know you 100% believe in it. But if you're making the right choice, or you're making choices aligned to the values, so in other words, aligned to honesty or own it or A game or safety first, if you're making choices along there, and even if you get the wrong result, so in other words, we don't get the outcome that we want, you can't be unhappy. Yeah, because the choices were right. We've maybe got to look at the solution or the implementation. Yeah. But, mate, you've done everything right there. You've absolutely done everything. You made the right choices, but let's just have a look at some of the implementation or how you've gone about. You look at training then as well. Like that obviously highlights potential training issues. So it's just a totally different way to look at it. And how are you?
It's a massive mind shift to look at things like that. And our boys, our very first reiteration of the Way We Do It Here document, it didn't have learning environment and that is now one of our, creating a learning environment. And because learning and training is one thing that is a downfall because of where we live and because of the talent pool. So we've got guys coming in that aren't trained in certain aspects and they have to learn. And so how do we create this learning environment? And that wasn't even something that I wanted. Well, I mean, it was something that I wanted, but I didn't really articulate that to the team. They sort of said, well, hey, no, let's make this part of our business. It's got to be part of our business.
Yeah, that's great. It's great they're picking up and identifying that.
Yeah. So, it's a huge mind shift on so many levels to get yourself into that situation where it just becomes something that you live and breathe in your company.
And what about that peace of mind? Again, like being able to go away in the caravan for 4 weeks, and like you say, you could have gone away a lot longer. Just having that peace of mind, knowing that you've got confidence in the team that they can take it and own it.
Yeah, look, and particularly when your managers are aligned to it, you can once you've kind of got it in place, it will keep you. It will keep your company going. There's things that you've got to keep your eye on and keep your mind around. But we had the best break, whole month for me. That's the first time for I can't even tell you, 10 years probably. And it was amazing. And family, now that we've got family, we've got kids, we've got so much going on personally, you don't want your business to run your life. It can't. It's just not, it's not good for your family. It's not good for your kids. They suffer. And it's a tough one because I know there's probably a lot of people out there that do let their businesses run their life, because I was one of them. But now we've got to that stage, and it's been there's been ups and downs to get there, and there's still work to do. But I think having that framework in place, having a team culture that is just humming, and having your assets, which are your staff, happy and wanting to turn up to work and wanting to better the company, I think that's what creates the ability to go on holidays and have a break, switch off, because you come back. Like I came back refreshed. I got probably more done when I got back than if I'd stayed at work for the month.
100%. Like that's the thing where people just keep, oh no, I can't go away. I can't go. Some people think they're too important to go away as well, but you're not productive.
No, you're just there. You're just a body. And in some ways you kind of enable your team to step up and say, righto, this is now me. It's on me.
Yeah.
And if you're there, you're like this looming shadow across everything. And sometimes in management styles, you find that certain management styles are just this constant like cloud over the business. And you don't kind of let people come out into the sun and show their skills.
That's what let them grow right in the sun, as you say. Look, as a business owner, you do cast a big shadow. You don't realize how big a shadow you cast. No. So some people are hesitant to step out of that shadow. Yeah. Whereas if you just, again, unplug and totally remove yourself from the situation, then people go, all right, here we go.
I got to make this choice. I got to make the choice.
But the key thing as well, you prime them right before you went away. You prime.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we worked.
It's not just like abdicating responsibility and walking away, and then that's going to.
And we had to work to that. Yeah, we had to work to that. There was no like, right, I'm just going. See ya. It was, we had to work to that, and and things changed when we were away, and there was decisions made. Like I said, we had to move a team member on, and that was the team did that. I had nothing to do with it. The management team just made that happen, and again, it just come back to that way we do it here.
That's fantastic. That's really good, because I want to just touch on that scenario where for most tradie business owners in the tradie mindset, where it's busy all the time, they, often it's always either, if they don't like their life, it's their client's fault or their team member's fault or their, And what happens is they'll go away for 2 weeks, basically run away, and they come back and it's a shit fight. When they come back, and what do they say most of the time? They go, "That's it. I'm never going on holidays again.
Not going. Yeah, can't do
I'm
that
not.
again.
I'm not doing that again. I'm not going on holidays
without
again."
me.
Yeah. Oh, so that's great. So for the next X amount of years, you're not going to go on holidays. You're not going to refresh. So, but that's the tradie mindset talk, right? Where
Yeah.
it's just short term. But mate, what you've just sort of touched on there, you sort of nailed it in terms of what you've built as a team. But more importantly, the position now for the new financial year, which we're coming into July 2023. It's so exciting, right? Like, how do you now?
Yeah, well, like our pipelines, what we've got coming up is just really exciting, and the kind of work that we're doing now. We're moving into commercial space in preschools and things like that, which is it's really fun. And I am, we probably haven't touched on it yet, but we talk about personalities and personal management styles and the kind of people you are, and we've talked about it before too. With we need tenacious people in management. I'm not that person. I'm a dreamer, and that's just the way it works. And so when we have these things, like, this is what keeps me buzzing. Like, we're getting work and jobs like preschools, and I get to create. Like, that's my big thing. And I've got guys that are in the management level, the project management level, that are tenacious, that they just see that thing come to fruition, and it's like, this is awesome. So that's exciting.
We have to do it. We can do another podcast on that. And what Josh is referring to there is a methodology called the Working Genius that we've been using, which identifies the personality of everyone, right? And whether you're tenacious or a wanderer or and what, yeah. And
it's awesome.
I'll definitely attest, right? So getting Josh to sort of sit down and work through some of the things and some of our work is definitely hard at times, right? You're not that tenacious.
It isn't. I'm not a tenacious person. Yeah. And understanding that.
You get ants in your pants. And but again, that's an important part, though, of having a balanced team around that, the right sort of personalities. That some can just, get in, let's get it done. Others are more like, okay, let's just sit back and just assess, is this the right thing to get done? And then you get others that actually then come up with the whole idea.
Yeah. And when you're building team culture, like we talked about, the way we do it here, those things, that's your framework. You want people with the right personalities that'll just nail that every day. And like I know that's not, being tenacious has never been something that I've been great at. So,
but it's good, right? Like, you put your hand up, you've got to identify that, because everyone everyone in life should be trying to work in their sweet spot or their working genius spot that they really like.
Well, that's the only way you hum. That's the only way that you enjoy getting up and coming to work is if you're doing things you want to do and you're successful at.
Too bloody hard. Business is bloody hard, right? It's just like, it's no fantasy. Yeah. But mate, just wrapping up, really, really awesome and great to be part of that journey, and great to see that journey as it evolves, and great to see the results now really starting to come to fruition on the back of that latent potential. That's good stored energy. Just before we go, what's the one takeaway any aspiring business owner, or even a business owner that's really in the midst of struggling, what's the sort of the piece of advice you'd give them to try and sort of move forward or get them out of the rut that they are at the moment?
Well, I just think really you've just got to be really honest with yourself and really look at, and I think that's where I struggled, because obviously it was my wife that was really honest with me and said, no, this isn't going to work. The way we're doing this right now, it's not going to work moving forward. So I think you just got to be really honest with where you're sitting and say, if you're run by your business, then it's not the right thing for you. It's not doing the right thing for you. So I think the biggest takeaway is to find, the processes and the habits and the things you can put in place. And that's what we've got from you. And I think that's been the biggest takeaway for me and you'll latch on to what speaks to you within what you offer. I think too, like the way we do it here was what we latched onto because that was part of our culture, but there's so much more in the processes and the habits that business owners can latch onto that they can get from you guys. So I think just being really open and honest with yourself, I think, is the biggest thing. Because I was in a rut and I was pig-headed. There's no doubt about it. I knew.
Maybe a little bit.
I knew, that whole, I know how to fix this. I know how to get out of this. But what I didn't know is how to actually make it happen. And the things that you've brought up, a lot of the the business things that we sort of talk about, our sales pipeline and our profit plans and our profit and loss and all those things. I have an understanding of those things, and I had an understanding of those things, but actually making them actionable things that we can work on in a trade business, that's different. And I think you need help, and also someone to drive you, particularly when you're like me. Just being honest with yourself, I think really that's the biggest thing.
Just tell you that every now and then you get told to get over yourself.
Come on, just pull your finger out. Let's go.
You're kidding yourself. Get the book out.
Stop dreaming.
Stop dreaming. Stop getting out of that wonder. Get out of that wonder. I need that. I need a bit of tea. I need a bit of tenacity, please.
Yeah.
No, great stuff, Josh. I know plenty of awesome stuff there. And for those listening, especially around the team and trying to mobilise the team, heaps of good takeaways there, mate. But I really look forward to seeing where the journey continues.
Yeah, same.
So it's really exciting.
We want to see it go outside of where we are, and we want to see it continue to grow. We're not stopping here for now. So
definitely don't stop. Just keep on chipping away. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yep, awesome.